Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Tejaswini Dande, Consultant Medical Gastroenterologist at Bangalore Gastro Center.
Hi all, I'm Dr. Ritu Sebastian, Consultant Medical Gastroenterologist at Bangalore Gastro Center.
Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Bharti, Pediatric Gastroenterologist at Bangalore Gastro Center.
Women's digestive health is shaped by unique physiological and hormonal factors that influence how the gut functions. From menstrual cycles to pregnancy, menopause, and lifestyle choices, these variations can lead to distinct GI challenges. Women are also more prone to conditions like irritable bowel syndrome, that is IBS, gallstones, functional dyspepsia due to hormonal fluctuations, gut motility differences, and metabolic changes. Today, we'll address the most common GI concerns women face and discuss ways to improve digestive health. My first question is to Dr. Ritu. Why do women experience menstrual cycle disturbances in the GI symptoms?
A number of hormonal changes occur during the menstrual cycle, particularly changes in the estrogen and progesterone, and that can cause bloating and constipation. Apart from that, the prostaglandins which are released to cause uterine contraction, that can actually cause diarrhea and cramping. So women can experience both ends of the spectrum. Here are some simple strategies how to deal with each. So in the case of constipation, it would be better to take high fiber and hydrate yourself during your cycles. If there is bloating, some strategies are to take smaller, more frequent meals, not to lie down immediately after meals, take few cups of ginger tea, avoiding processed food, and doing some exercises, jogging can help soothing it. In the case of diarrhea, it is better to avoid caffeine, which can again further cause more cramping and diarrhea. Next question to Dr. Bharti. Could you please elaborate on constipation in women?
Yeah. Women are more prone to constipation because of the two factors, slow intestinal transit and pelvic floor discussion. Talking about the former factor, slower intestinal transit is particularly influenced by hormones like progesterone, which decreases the gut motility and relaxes the smooth muscles. Due to the slow intestinal transit, the stool stays in the colon for a long time, leading to prolonged absorption of water and making it harder and difficult to pass. It is also influenced in some factors in some phases of the menstrual cycle and pregnancy. And to help with this, we can have a high fiber diet, keep ourselves hydrated, and in some cases would need some fiber supplements in a high fiber diet. Pelvic floor dysfunction is particularly more in women due to childbirth related anatomical disturbances and hormonal influences, where instead of the pelvic muscle relaxing with the abdominal pressure, they either contract or fail to inadequately relax to pass the stool. So in this case, we can diagnose it by tests like anorectal manometry, balloon expulsion test, and to help with this, we can have little bit of pelvic floor exercises, high fiber diet, and biofeedback therapy. So my next question to Dr. Tejaswini is, can we elaborate about functional dyspepsia in women?
So mainly functional dyspepsia means there is no organic underlying cause. Functional dyspepsia affects digestion, causing bloating, early satiety, and upper abdominal discomfort. It is often linked to stress, anxiety, and hormonal fluctuations. So small lifestyle tweaks can significantly improve the symptoms. Watching what you eat, cutting back on fried, fatty food, hydrating wisely with water instead of caffeine or alcohol, eating smart and having 5 to 6 small meals instead of 3 large ones, and eating slowly, maintaining a healthy diet and healthy weight. And whenever one is lying down, they should lie down till they are left. And quitting smoking and alcohol and managing stress are extremely useful. So my next question would be to Dr. Ritu. Dr. Ritu, why do women face increased incidence of non-alcoholic fatty liver disease? Can you please elaborate?
Non-alcoholic fatty liver disease is being increasingly more prevalent in women, especially post-menopausal women. This is because of the metabolic changes and also increased fat that is getting accumulated in the liver. It is the leading cause of liver failure in women. The other causes would be diabetes, obesity, and sedentary lifestyle. Some simple strategies to deal with NAFL. Let's start with dietary modifications. Reduce the calorie intake by 500 to 750 kilocalories per day. You can start small by reducing the carbohydrate by 1/3 on your plate. Also, adequate exercise. Try to lose weight by 5 to 10% of the body weight, which can be done over a period of 3 to 6 months. Avoid processed food and also increase the dietary fiber. The other causes would be to avoid alcohol completely, then avoid drugs like analgesics, which can put more strain on the liver. Coming to exercises, there are two exercises, aerobic exercises and the strength training exercises. Aerobic exercises would be brisk walking, jogging, swimming, cycling, which can be done over 150 minutes per week. And the resistant or strength training exercises can be done 2 to 3 sessions per week. So the next question to Dr. Bharti, why is acid reflux more prevalent in pregnancy?
Yeah. As we spoke earlier also, pregnancy hormones like progesterone decreases the gut motility and relaxes the smooth muscle, making the GER symptoms worse. Also, when the uterus expands in size, it puts an additional pressure on the stomach, which worsens the reflux symptoms. To help with this, we can have small frequent meals, avoid trigger food, stay in upright position post meals would help with these symptoms. So Dr. Tejaswini, can you tell us why are gallstones more common in women and what are the symptoms for it?
So mainly gallstones are usually more common in women. They can cause upper abdominal pain, nausea, vomiting, and in some severe cases it can cause jaundice as well. The estrogen hormone in women increases the cholesterol levels in bile, while progesterone hormone relaxes the muscles in the gallbladder wall, slowing its emptying process. This leads to gallstone formation. Pregnancy and hormone replacement therapy further elevate the risk. So a balanced diet, maintaining a healthy weight and regular physical activity can help reduce gallstone risk. My next question would be to Dr. Ritu. How does one differentiate between IBD and IBS symptoms?
Irritable bowel syndrome is a functional disease because of gut-brain miscommunication. They can have symptoms like bloating, cramping, diarrhea, constipation, or both, in which case it is called mixed IBS. Now, the main differentiating factor is that in irritable bowel syndrome, there is no structural damage to the gut, whereas in inflammatory bowel disease, there is structural damage. So even if a patient comes with symptoms of IBS, IBS is a diagnosis of exclusion. So we will do blood tests to look at the inflammatory markers and also, to show that it is negative. We will do scopies to make sure there is no organic damage. Now, to manage this, there are simple techniques like managing their stress. We also put them on a diet called the low FODMAP diet. And then the medical management is tailored based on whether it is IBS constipation, IBS diarrhea, or IBS mixed. My last question to Dr. Bharti. Can you tell us something about IBD in women?
Yeah. Inflammatory bowel disease like Crohn's and ulcerative colitis are influenced by hormonal factors. That's why some women face some worsening of symptoms during some phases of the menstruation and pregnancy. Also, additionally, oral contraceptive pills or any hormonal pills would also influence the disease activity. So a proper medical follow-up and regular checkups with proper dietary and medical management would help women deal with this better. So Dr. Tejaswini's last question of mine to you is, can you tell us something about GI symptoms in endometriosis?
So endometriosis is a condition where tissues similar to the lining of uterus grows outside of the uterus, often affecting the pelvic organs and even the bowel. The symptoms often mimic that of irritable bowel syndrome, leading to misdiagnosis or a delayed treatment in women. So if someone experiences bloating, abdominal pain, constipation, diarrhea, nausea, or painful bowel movements, especially during menstrual cycle, this happens because of endometrial-like tissue, which can trigger the inflammation and adhesions, affecting the intestine's normal function. In some cases, the condition may even lead to bowel endometriosis, where lesions affecting the bowel directly worsening the symptoms. So if you have persistent GI symptoms that fluctuate with your menstrual cycle, or you don't respond to typical IBS treatments, it's important to consult a specialist to rule out endometriosis and get the right care.
Women's digestive health is influenced by hormonal changes, lifestyle factors, and anatomical differences, making GI issues more prevalent and more complex. However, the right dietary choices, physical activity, stress management, and medical guidance, many of these conditions can be effectively managed. Let's celebrate women's health by taking proactive steps towards better digestive wellness.
Happy International Women's Day.